What it do, good people? I want to speak about law for a hot second. I always say know your rights and all this, so DC Attorney General done filed to take over the police. And they won in what they were saying based on home rule law, the Home Rule Act of 1973. All that Trump shit, he do whatever he want here and go to Baltimore, Chicago, LA. That ain't what the law say. That was live news. They just finished talking about it. It just came out the courtroom. Hot off the press. So that's a big up for home rule. Talking about they're gonna come in and just take over. They ain't read home rule law. They ain't understand the home rule law, man. Talking about they walked up in and talking about we in charge. like the movie
It means we in charge. It means we got our hands on the wheel. We in charge. We in charge.
We in charge.
I'm in charge. No, you're not. We in charge. So that go for all that shit. The prosecutor was talking about she gonna make city council change IRA. She gonna charge people at 14.
That we are going to change the laws. That if you're 14, 15, 16, 17, we're going to bring you into the justice system. No more of this DC, council. Oh, if they're under 16 or if they're under 19 or if they're under 25, we'll give them probation. No more.
She gonna charge people at 14. You gonna follow the law. That's what you gonna do. You gonna follow the law. Here in D.C., that go for Pam Bondi, Janine Pirro, Terry Cole, Donald Trump. You gonna follow the law. In Washington, D.C., they gonna take your ass to court. This the nation's capital. Nah, we different niggas. That's why we from Washington, D.C. The fuck wrong with you? You think you think we different for no reason other than we just from Washington, D.C.? All on the news talking about I don't care about their law. I'm going to lock everybody back up. I'm going to make them change the law. No, you're not. Home rule in effect. You know how they said the crap game, bond effect, bond understood. Home rule in effect, bitch. Excuse my language, my bad. I ain't supposed to do that right this minute. Home rule in effect. What you got to say about that? You going to run around, take control of the police. You're going to interpret the law in which the way you want to interpret the law. I read the law myself. The law says in a limited capacity or something, the president can request services. He ain't say you send the head of the DEA into the building and tell the chief of police, Pamela Smith, go sit over there. We're going to pay you, but you ain't running shit no more. They is running shit. It's called the District of Columbia. It's called the Home Rule of 1973, Donald Trump. You should tell your legal team, go read it. It was signed into law by President Nixon. Fuck wrong with y'all? People running around on CNN, Fox News, talking about, oh, he may do this in other cities and other states. How? It's a thing called states' rights. The fuck is y'all talking about? Home rule ain't something. Now, they want to say that they're going to challenge D.C. City Council's local rules and the changes of the rules. All right, I was waiting to hear the end of that. But what you're not going to change overnight is the Home Rule Act that came from Congress. That came from the feds. That ain't, city council ain't make home rule. He going to bring this Fox analyst, ex-judge, ex-prosecutor, look like some type of leprechaun. She's 75 years old, talking about she going to send people to jail at 14 years old for life. For unarmed crimes. The fuck is wrong with them? They smoking, man. They smoking chewing tobacco at that. But for people who don't understand, this is a big victory for home rule. This is a big victory for DC. Whether you into the law-abiding side of town or your regular old part of side of town, bruh, they not going to allow the DEA to come in and take over the whole MPD. Pam Bondi and them is not going to have their way. They not going to be sending niggas to jail as 14 for those 70 years and shit. Now, if they going to press it, they going to press it. But that's what you call a victory. You got to go to court. You got to know your rights. You got, man, everybody should go look up what home rule is. Go look up the Home Rule Act in D.C. in 1973. But for those of us, you know what I mean, that's more polished than me, Like shout out to the brothers that can keep their they can code switch at all times. Like sometimes I get fed up and I don't care. But nevertheless, we got brothers that had now come together and said that they want to unify and use their platforms to expose what's going on, the success of brothers that came home. Because one thing for sure, the motherfuckers that's out here carjacking and doing all the things in which they're alleged to be done, it's not being done by any of the guys that came home under these laws that I don't even want to say the laws because I don't want to keep tip drawing to them. But those of us that's in the positions that know that came home from crimes committed as teenagers, they are not the people committing the crimes at the moment. So why would you want to go mess with that law? I can't wait to hear what they're going to have to say about this now. The judge say, nah, you're not going to do that.
More than 3,100 professional officers that work for MPD. My sincere hope is that we don't have to be back fighting over this issue again. The government, the federal government, recognizing that the judge was going to have to make a ruling on this issue, actually withdrew and said that they're going to rewrite the language that suggested that the person from the DEA was running the police department, which was illegal and clearly not going to happen. So the key for today is to know that our effort to avoid a hostile takeover of our police force is not going to happen. Chief Smith remains in control of the police department under the supervision of our mayor. Very important win for home rule today.
I'm Muriel Bowser. I'm the mayor of Washington, D.C. I am pleased to stand with our Attorney General, Brian Schwab, and his capable team at the Office of the Attorney General, as well as members of my team. We are grateful for the hard work that was done when we received an order late into the evening, yesterday evening, that we read as plainly against the Home Rule Charter. Our teams worked throughout the night. The judge herself commented on the hard work that was done and presented in the cases made. And I am encouraged by the judge's remarks and the federal government making the changes that were suggested, and the judge's willingness to rule if that's not satisfactory. Thank you.
Okay, we'll take about questions. My expectation is that the key issue with respect to control and command of our MPD has been resolved today, and that it is clear as a matter of law that it is under the chief of police appointed by the mayor.
Hey, Brian, Bob Barnard over here from Fox 5. Are you concerned at all that when President Trump gets wind of what the judge ruled, he's going to come right back and do it again?
Look, all we can do as local officials elected and accountable to the residents of the District of Columbia is to stand up for home rule in our law. Even the President of the United States, even the Attorney General of the United States needs to comply with the law. And the Home Rule Charter and the Home Rule Act is very clear with respect to when the President can request limited services of MPD, limited by time, limited by emergency circumstances, and limited for federal purposes. And in all cases, those services must be requested to the mayor to be provided by the chief of police, not a hostile takeover of our police. And if it means standing up to the president, standing up to the attorney general to ensure that the laws of our country are followed, we will do that. My hope is that we do not have to be back here relitigating it. Our local law enforcement has worked collaboratively with federal law enforcement from time immemorial. This is nothing new, and it's part of what the residents of the District of Columbia deserve is a cohesive law enforcement effort, MPD with our federal enforcement partners. We don't need a hostile takeover from the federal government to do what we do every day. And my hope is we can get past this and get back to doing the hard work of continuing to drive crime down in our city, because any crime in our city is too much. We have to continue to be focused on that, and my hope is that we put that to bed today.
Mr. Attorney General, Madam Mayor, what's your expectation of what happens with both the homeless in the district and people without status? Do they both need to be worried that DC police are now enforcing rules that prior to this they've not been?
Look, we know that the law under the Home Rule Act allows the federal government during a course of an emergency to request the services of MPD in furtherance of a federal purpose. And whether it's clearing encampments that are adjacent to or near federal land or that might interfere with federal employees, if it's enforcement of immigration laws that are under the federal, we will have to confront that as it comes. We have made very clear, we have made very clear that we have laws in our city and that the services that MPD provides in furtherance of a request from the president, those services must comply with the law.
Mr. Attorney General, Luke Barr with ABC News. Are you, over here, are you surprised, can you, first of all, take us inside, right here, Mr. Can you take us inside the negotiations with the Justice Department? It was a prolonged negotiation. What was that, what were those conversations like? And then for the mayor, were you surprised to see the Attorney General's memo and executive order last night, given the sort of what appeared to be cooperation between federal and state authorities?
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about the confidential settlement discussions and negotiations that went on today.
We were surprised. I think you know that we reached out immediately to the Attorney General as the President's designee. We had a productive meeting. She described it as a productive meeting. And without notice, we got the order.
Here. Are you concerned about potentially escalating tensions between the federal agents and D.C. residents as we go into this weekend?
What we know is that D.C. residents are worried and concerned, and we have a surge of federal officers. Chief Smith's job during this week has been to make sure that if we have and while we have federal officers, that they are being used strategically. And while we aren't controlling them, we do have the ability to influence how they're being deployed.
Mayor Bowser?
Thanks. No more questions. Thank you, everybody.